Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to my channel. My name's Ebony, if you didn't already know. But today's video is all about tiny bumps all over the skin, and these are just, they're so annoying because they're not really like breakouts. They're not like when you get like a whitehead and they're like poppable. No, these are just like little tiny bumps that just like create texture and just create this like unevenness on the face, which is basically texture, Ebony. But you know what I mean though. So I've already made a video on this topic and it's actually one of my best ranking videos. If you haven't already seen it, I'll leave it in like a card and down below as well. Today's video is a little bit of a follow-up from that video, and it's, you know, giving you guys my story and my experience with these little bumps and what I did to really get rid of them and tell you, get to the nitty-gritty what really was the culprit for me. And also, if you guys are in a position where, you've listened to that video and you think, you know what, Ebony, I've done everything you mentioned and I've still got these bumps. Well, maybe this video can help you out. But anyway, I'm going to try my best to help you guys get rid of these bumps. Leave me comments down below as well, like let me know your situations because I love hearing from you guys. And without further ado, let's get straight into the video and let's talk about what I did to get rid of all those little bumps for good. I used to get these little bumps literally all over my cheeks. I'd get them sometimes down here, but the main area I used to get them was kind of like in this area. When the light hits, there was just thousands of the buggers. Honestly, it crushes you inside. I know exactly how you feel, and I didn't just suffer with these for like a couple months. Like, no, I had these for like a couple years. So one thing that I noticed about the bumps on my skin is they definitely flared up and flared down. There was definitely some times when I was like, oh, they're getting a little bit better, and then all of a sudden, they would get like worse again, which did indicate to me that it could be something internal. So I already made that link, early on. Now, back when I was having these bumps, I was maybe in the same position you might be now, where you feel like I literally tried everything. I'm not joking. Now, if we just rewind a little bit before this time, I did have an intolerance test with York Test Laboratories, which, by the way, I do actually recommend because I had my allergies tested with a GP, and I must say they confirmed everything that test is. But yeah, I had a test done with them, and one thing that came up on their list was yeast. Now, to be honest with you, when those results came back, I tried cutting it down a little bit, but it wasn't like the absolute focus. Like back then, I just found out that I was allergic to wheat and I couldn't handle like gluten, dairy, and like those were really big things to me that I was really like. But before that period of my life, I did not really focus on my food much. I was eating all the wheat, all the gluten, all the dairy in the world. I was in a moment of, I need to focus on these ones first and tackle that. Then I went really down my health journey and obviously really changed my diet. I became so plant-based, really clean eating, and yeah, got really into food and how our food reacts with our body and our skin. Now, cutting all the waffle out, fast forward a couple of years, I actually had another intolerance test done with York to see if I was able to, get any of these out of my system a little bit, and yeast was actually on that list as well. So it was at this point I was like, damn, like this has come up on both of my lists now. So at that point, I actually started looking into yeast, and I went down this bit of like a candida route. And I remember I actually did videos on this. They're actually still on my channel. You can go check them out. And when I was going on that like research path into candida, I really started believing, oh my god, candida is causing these little bumps on my skin, which, to be honest with you, kind of is a yes and a no. But I don't have candida, just putting that out there now. But I was on like the right path with that, with the whole yeast thing. Anyway, through the candida diet, one thing they tell you to do is to cut out sugar. Now, I completely cut out sugar. Like, I'm talking, did not touch a single anything of sugar. I noticed my skin did actually like start to improve, like the bumps. I automatically started, putting that onto the sugar front and thinking, oh my god, not having sugar is responding so well with my skin. But obviously, doing the candida diet, I was also obviously not having anything containing yeast. So, no vinegars, no like fermented foods, and all that kind of stuff that contains yeast. So fast forwarding on a little bit, from then I cut out yeast completely, like did not touch it at all, not even like, just let myself have it as a one-off. Like, I really did cut it out. And at the same time, ever since, I've had a very low sugar diet. I still have a little bit of sugar here and there. Like, it's not like I have zero sugar, but I just have a very low sugar diet. So I continued the journey of cutting out the yeast and cutting out the sugar. But I must say, even though my skin was getting better, I still was getting flare-ups. So I was like, okay, there must be more to this. So then let's fast forward to, let's say like last summer, not the summer just gone, last summer. I've never really been a massive drinker, to be really, if I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. I've never really enjoyed it. But one of the reasons why I've never really enjoyed drinking is because I always notice the next day when I wake up, my skin is always like really red and sensitive. I also noticed that I would break out the next day, but I always just blame that on the sugar content content because I'm more of like a spirits drinker, so I'd normally have like a cocktail or, you know, something which probably contains a lot of sugar. Now last summer, I must say, I don't know what came over me last summer. I kind of was like a bit more like, yeah, like just go out, have fun. Do you know what I mean? So I did have a couple of drinks a couple of times. My skin was, to be really honest with you, last summer it was not good. It was in a really bad way. That's around the time I did those Purge Me videos, and you know, you kind of followed my journey using the salicylic acid, which is a really good example looking back, because you know, you can see what my skin was like when I was having alcohol. Now I don't know if you guys remember, but in one of my, actually I think it's my second Purge Me video, I spoke about taking apple cider vinegar. Now when I did research online, it was like, yeah, apple cider vinegar, it doesn't have yeast in it, and I can never wrap my head around that, because I was like, I thought all vinegar is yeast. But when I was reading up online, they were like, no, it's fine. So I did that, you know, whole apple cider vinegar thing, because they were like, that helps with this, your skin. I don't know if you guys saw that video, but in that video I basically told you guys it made my skin go crazy, and you can, like I said, see it in the video because I show you my breakouts. And yeah, the apple cider vinegar just did not work for me, and I just thought to myself, you know, I really do think it had yeast in it. Fast forward to my holiday just gone. I just went to Dubai in the summer. Now when I go on holiday and I've got to tell them about my allergies, I always just say yeast is an allergy now, because I just, you know, I don't want it in my food. So it's just easier just to say it's an allergy. But basically one of the nights, my boyfriend and I, we went out for like a nice fancy dinner, and we went to, you know, the Burj, the really, really nice hotel in Dubai, and we were like, okay, let's have a cocktail, because, you know, you're only here once, let's do it. The waiter, basically, he came over and he was like, we can't serve you alcohol. And I was like, why? I'm 24. Like, why? And they were like, because all alcohol is yeast. And I was like when he said it, I literally thought to myself, oh my god, like, you know when you have that penny drop moment. But anyway, yeah, that was a bit of information that came to me. And then a couple like months later, I was actually in my bedroom, it was before I was moving back down to Kent, and I found my old like intolerance test results, and on there it actually says like, yeah, yeast and like what to avoid. And one of the things it actually says is beverages, and it says alcohol, and it literally says on the paper next to it, do not consume any alcohol besides, I think it was like champagne, and then I think gin and vodka are like the safest ones in terms of yeast. So now with all this new information, knowing that, you know, I actually cannot touch alcohol because my body hates it, which to be honest I'm not actually mad at, because like I said, I'm not a massive drinker, and now it just gives me like the best, like, you know, excuse without having any hassle from everyone. But anyway, long story short, now I know that alcohol is such a problem. Like, I don't touch alcohol anymore. My sugar consumption is still low, and that still makes sense because basically sugar feeds yeast. So if any yeast is present in your body and you're having like maybe like a bit of a sugar burst, that sugar will feed the yeast, so that can actually form like, you know, the reaction as well. So that makes complete sense now why the sugar and the yeast is so connected for me, and like sugar's such a problem for me. Long story time short, so not touching yeast in any shape or form and keeping my sugar low has honestly, oh, just completely transform my skin. That obviously, not just that alone, obviously when it comes to little bumps, I still think exfoliation is so important, like with texture of the skin. So I'll put my exfoliation like do's and don'ts video if you want to go check that out, because honestly I think that is just such a like key thing to clear skin. But in terms of these little bumps and the response of my skin, keeping out the yeast and cutting down the sugar, those two together have just been the ones. So if you're in the position that I was, where you feel like you've tried everything and nothing is working to get rid of these little bumps, like, you don't need to go and get an allergy test, you know, do all that and shove out like a load of money. But what I really recommend doing is just try this for like 2 weeks, just see if this is something that makes a difference to you or not. Some of you guys, you might try it and go, do you know what, it's made no difference, clearly like yeast isn't the like culprit for me. But some of you guys on the other hand, you might, you know, cut out the yeast and really lower down the sugar, and you might find that your skin responds really well, and you might be in a very similar situation to me. So I just really wanted to share this with you guys, because this has been like a huge part of like my clear skin puzzle. And then also guys, when it comes to the sugar, like I must say, when you are doing like this as a trial, you really need to cut sugar out. And when I say sugar, I mean fruit included. So anyway guys, that is it for this video. I really hope it helped you guys out. What do you guys want my next video to be? Let me know in the comments below. And also, if you could give this video a thumbs up, because it helps me out that so much. And of course, if you haven't already, click that subscribe button and come join the family. But anyway, have a wonderful day and I'll see you in my next video. Mwah. Bye.